Look at that. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd got a fun one for you today. I'm down here at Forest River, in case you weren't aware. I don't know that you necessarily need to know, or maybe that you don't even care. Taking a look at another new RPod today. My first time going through this 192 model right here. This is very similar in terms of layout to something a lot of other builders bring to the table. It's a front walk-around bed with a campsite dinette, but extended campsite overlook window. Obviously, you saw that front dual pane acrylic Euro windshield can actually open for max airflow. It does have a bug screen. It does have a blackout shade. You can keep the sun out of it and the nosy neighbors if you want. Very nice actually. Rear bath on the back of this one with a big fan, and frankly, huge. The biggest chunk of storage in this is actually back there in the bathroom. Enclosed heated belly, Goodyear tires, tire pressure monitoring, Asdel below the fiberglass, rear receiver hitch, convection air fryer wombo combo, microwave electric oven, bigger, larger 12-volt compressor fridge. Like, they packed a lot of crap into this. 12-volt smart TV even. It's really a very nicely detailed but smaller camper, because sometimes people just want small, but they don't necessarily want cheap. If you're like, okay, I don't want small, I want small. Oops, I'm stupid. I want small. I don't want cheap, but I don't want to necessarily go broke. This is that perfect mama bear in-between package right here. And this is RPod's 15th anniversary. There are so many builders that have been coming at them for years, and they're still here, they're still cranking, and I'm so glad to finally get my hands on a few and get in front of them for you. Very nice pass-through front storage compartment on this as well. This is 7.5 foot wide. So it's a little bigger than some, it's a little smaller than others. Again, it's that little in-betweener kind of size and space right here, but it does a lot of good things in a smaller, lighter weight package. And I'm really curious to know what you think about this one. Good, bad, ugly, or in between. And if you appreciate how we get you down here and show you all this stuff, hit that subscribe button. Let's get in there. All right, so let's get in it here. To give you a reference point, you can see the entry door over there. I'm basically standing in the bathroom door. Thankfully, I have my pants on this time. That's one of the best benefits of being behind the camera, is you have no idea if I'm wearing pants on a given moment. And if I sound a little more jolly than normal, it might be because maybe I'm just running around in my skivvies in a camper. You don't even know. That's the creepy thing. I could have been doing that for years. You don't have a clue. I do have to be a little more cognizant of mirrors on those days, naturally. So it's a good news, bad news. This is a nice, lightweight, easy towing kind of thing, but because of the front curvature, it does not allow them the opportunity to have any sort of functional overhead cabinet storage space. Actually, even just the back corner of their wardrobe towers over there is kind of getting clipped a little bit. You might notice you've got the headboard power pockets over here, and they do have household outlets in that lower section. On the front, you obviously see that you have household and USB plugs. Now, this looks sort of similar to some other things out there. RPod is a member of the Surveyor RPod No Boundaries Ibex family. So they share a lot of DNA. So you might see bedroom arrangements that are fairly similar to this, kind of between them, but they all have a little bit different mix-up going on. Now, something I wanted to do here, I was double checking because I looked at this, and by God, it is. This is a 60 by 80 true queen bed. I was thinking this was going to be a short queen. I'm a little surprised. Oh, this is good news. I'm glad to see it. Because one, if you don't like the Murphy bed function, you could slot any residential true queen you want in here. That's a cool detail. But I was kind of noticing it's actually, because it is a hinged bending mattress. This is what I call a bendy bed Murphy bed. It looks like the front section here is 48 inches. The back section is 32. Add them up, that's 80. Last I knew. Yeah, no, that works. So I need to kick my shoes off because I have a no shoes on the furniture kind of policy here. And holy crap, this is awesome. My feet don't have to hang off the bed. This is cool. By the way, in case you were curious, if you really want to get all of the airflow and the sunshine out here, you can. And then if you want to block the neighbors out, you can do that too. It's kind of cool how they give you a couple different opportunities to do that. But it is a folding bendy bed mattress. So there's a positive, negative trade-off here. One of the benefits is that because the headboard doesn't dive down into the front pass-through, we have a full front pass-through capacity on this that a lot of other Murphy beds may not necessarily offer. It also means that when this bed is folded up, you've created an enclosed cavity for, I will say, light cargo because you don't want it smashing into your cabinetry or anything like that. But, you know, there's another opportunity for something there. And putting this thing away is pretty easy. It's not gas threaded, but it's not heavy, and it has its own little self-clasping lock like you've seen. And this is just a plain Jane, everyday jackknife sofa down here. And we are not in fisheye wide-angle lens mode. This is very real in how it's going to appear to you. What do you think of this accent board back here? What kind of decorating would you do with that? I'm a little bit curious. I do also want to point out, you can see how there's the household and the USB plugs on both sides of the sofa here. Now, there are some sofa armrest bolsters. Where did I, oh, here. Yeah, I left them up in here. I really should be more prepared for this, but there you go. So if you want these things, you can shove them up in there. But I've noticed they don't, So I hope you appreciate that even if something's a little janky, I'll go way out of my way to showcase that for you. I always want you to know we're trying to be real, trying to be fair. And if you appreciate the extra effort, if you're new with us, maybe hit that subscribe button, and we keep doing this all day, every day, as long as you keep wanting to see it. I also kind of want to point out that generally, well, I mean, for the most part, other than the furniture, very light color palette we have going on in here. For a small space, I think it really helps open it up. The big window off the campsite of the RV doesn't hurt either, but even without that in frame, I think it still looks pretty good in here. Hey, you know what? We have storage under and around the bed. Seems like we should take a look at that, you know? Because that's another thing I like to do. If you're a little bit new with the channel, I try to go through, this video is going to be longer than a lot of other people that make camper videos. And if you're not up for that, maybe change the speed on this thing to like 1.5x and hear me start to sound like, you know...
Alvin and the Chipmunks going super fast.
But I like you to know, you know, everything that I can reasonably about these before you go taking one home. Like, it looks like full-size cabinets over there, but I've noticed that it's actually just two little pockets. I kind of prefer those to be some kind of drawers, because to try to reach all the way under there, it's, well, the way that I like to say it, it's going to sound like you're giving an elephant an enema. Now, flip it around the other direction from here. I mentioned this a second ago, just extended campsite overlook window there. The entry door does have a window as well. It just doesn't have a privacy shade, but one could be added. It doesn't even require a screwdriver. It can be just kind of clipped in. What's been your experience on those window shades? I've heard some mixed reviews sometimes, so I don't know. Let me know. Handy little clutter cutter flip-flop shop right there by the door. This does have the knee knocker, you know, bang your shins kind of dinette pedestal post here, partially because it has a wheel well that sort of sticks up a little bit. So sometimes if you ever see, you know, an RPod where there's a sofa above a, in a slide out, it's usually above a wheel well, just like that. That's why they have to do that little bit of an elevated, called step-up slide out. The 12-volt smart TV right here, I think, is probably at the most ideal viewing position it could possibly be in. I'm at the left side of the sofa, obviously. So if there was somebody sitting directly here in front of me, could they be in my way? Yes. But remember, this is an RV primarily made for two people. So if someone's sitting directly in front of me, I would just slide to the right and it would no longer be an issue. I mean, 12 volt, if you are going to get off grid a little bit, you can do that. Now, look up between the lights on the left side, the overhead cabinets. You see some household and USB plugs right there. Something that you can't see easily. Let me give you a look at this. If I can get my finger on it. There we go. Blackout roller shades. Okay, good. This is not one of the ones that goes and makes a whole heck of a racket. Oh, up top here, 15,000 BTU air conditioner. Now, it's a non-centralized unit. So speaking of racket, it's going to make some noise. You're going to know it's running. I've been in RVs with them running. I've been able to record videos in RVs while they're running. And I know that I have a rather loud, obnoxious voice, at least if you ask my wife, that, you know, I just keep on keeping on like Joe Dirt. But I've never found it to be that bad. But everyone's sound sensitivities are different. And I was not expecting that top drawer to be a drawer. I thought it was going to be one of those little fold-out sponge drawers because of how it interacts with the sink over here. I didn't think it was going to clear that big, deep circular basin sink, but it does seem to do so. Down below here, we have that all-in-one electric air fryer convection oven microwave kind of combination job. Notice the easy reach power outlets just above that. There are not additional outlets under the overhead cabinets. Instead, you'll find some additional outlets over here kind of around the corner. Plus, you know, you have them on around the dinette. You have them on either side of the bed. Like, they've done a good job running a lot of copper inside this thing right here. That's one of those ways that an RV manufacturer can make an RV less expensive very invisibly, is by eliminating a lot of power outlets. And they haven't really gone about that here. Dual high output burner stovetop. Most three burner stovetops are high, low, low. So this is high output, in case you weren't aware. I've not done a good job of breaking that news to people in the past. This is your sink cover. It's not a bacon grease side splash, but it's not a bacon grease side splash. I suppose, if you kind of look at it that way. Let me get you around the 10 cubic foot 12 volt fridge here, because we have ourselves a pretty substantial pantry, actually. Like, I could have almost tolerated them putting a third or second shelf in it to try section that, but we have to crap on a spatula. I forgot to open this up, so I'm going to do something I don't normally do. It's because I don't feel like restarting this video segment. We're going to look at this storage. I'm going to open it in real time. Okay, these doors are kind of rubbing it. I was like, what is going on? This looks like a Jane Fonda leg spreader workout routine over here. You gotta do the thigh master, routine or whatever. I don't even know. Obviously, you can tell based on my body type, I'm very up to date on my physical fitness routines and or regimens. That is a small sleeper, by the way. That is not going to be an adult size like me hanging out on there, unless I'm in the fetal position after too many Coors Lights. But never mind how I spend my Tuesday night. Moving on from there, I was pleasantly surprised at the maximized use of storage under this dinette, to the point that I actually went and grabbed the griddle and the bracket and the griddle top in all their boxes and everything, and put them down here just to give you an idea. There's a good chunk of space there. Now, it doesn't have doors. You do have to take the dinette apart to get it. You're not going to want to put daily functional use stuff in there, but it can get the job done. Moving up from here, I want to begin. Let's start at the top. We've got a large vent fan in this thing. That's I think a more recent update on these. I don't have an awesome history with RPods. I've gone through some used ones. This is my first season being able to cover them new. It's been very exciting, actually, getting to see some new stuff. If you like all the new things we always try to bring on the channel, let me know, because I'm always trying to, I get bored seeing the same stuff. I gotta imagine you do too. Now, the RV 6.5 foot tall from floor to ceiling, so when I'm standing in that shower, my head's up in the skylight a little bit. It just kind of happens on this thing. But for a smaller, lighter RV, that's just sort of one of the necessary evils. I do appreciate the shower surround paneling right there, though. Not a whole lot of counter space in this. Just enough for like a toothbrush holder. I don't know that I personally need more than that in an RV. But, I don't exactly have the most demanding hair care regimen and routine. But all of this space over here is actually kind of awesome. Instead of looking at actually, my reflection in the mirror over here, Cousin Garrett, could you overlay some storage footage for them over this space? Because there is, I threw some stuff. I threw the TPMS controller in there. I put my phone in that extra closet. This thing actually has a third closet in it, which is really nice to really kind of showcase and maximize the storage. Like, there's some huge storage back in that space. And it might sound funny to folks, but when you're camping, you have to do things in an uncommon way sometimes. My grandparents, at the end of their camping run, they had a floor plan similar to this, slightly larger tandem axle. And my grandmother actually used one of the cabinets in there as overflow pantry stuff, but she only put canned goods in that. She didn't put box mac and cheese from the kitchen in there. And it occurs to me, with no slide out, we are always in road mode or never in road mode, depending on how you want to think about it. Tell you what, real quick, as long as I'm staring at this, let me just toss it over onto the sink to sort of show you. Now, I got a question. Do you orientate the handle straight forward? Do you put the handle back by the handle? It feels like no matter what you do, someone's OCD alarms are causing their eye to twitch. And it's not every day we get to literally step outside the thing through the nose like this, as we take another look at the weights and the measures over here, giving us an idea of what kind of vehicles are going to take to tote this one around. The good news is nothing super gigantomax by any stretch of the imagination, because it is a smaller, lighter RV. The total maximum weight, being right around that 5,000 pound mark. There's a lot of mid-sized tow package pickups, or very light duty half tons, because not every half ton tows 10,000 pounds. That's why when people say, could I pull this with my half ton? I don't know. I don't know about your half ton unless you tell me. This one is something that most all half ton pickups, as well as a lot of mid-sized pickups or medium to larger class tow package SUVs, would find well within their comfortable ratings. Now, back to this thing here. This is kind of cool because you don't feel like, unless you're talking like getting up into Lance money, you don't usually get a feature like this. And whether you're talking light or airflow or traveling, I think this is a feature a lot of people could like for a couple reasons. So this is a dual pane acrylic Euro window. It actually wraps over the seal. The seal is actually over here where it's making compression. So basically water would have to go inverted to get up in there. I'm not going to tell you it's impossible, but with the compression latches they have in this, it's very, very difficult. Additionally, it is dual pane, and these are far more impact resistant than conventional glass. And that's a thing that spooks a lot of people. A lot of people, when they see you, a glass windshield on the front of a towable RV, they're worried about rocks hitting them. And it could happen. I'm not saying they're silly. It is a thing that could happen. So RPod put more money in a protective front windshield here, but also the nature of that dual pane acrylic window is far more heat and cold exchange resistant, aka literally 2.5 times better R values than even a dual pane, quote, thermal window used in the RV industry. And that's before you whip down the radiant shade. It is a very cool thing. Now, I try to be fair. There are some builders who offer a floor plan like this with dual propane tanks. This is a single. It's not impossible to get that upgraded, but it would be an aftermarket thing. That's not going to be a factory supplied option. You can't like check a box and get a dual propane tank set up. They just don't do it here. Magnet holdbacks, slam latches, although I will say you don't have to slam them. I think these are almost better used as a compression latch as opposed to a whack kind of latch situation here. But looking down in this, I love the fact that we have, I think, a very respectable front pass-through on this small little camper. Handy little USB charger plugs up in that region as well. So like if you want your phone like not sitting in the sun, have you ever left your phone in the sun and then it overheats and your phone's like, I'm not gonna do any work until you get me out of the sun because I'm overheating and I'm gonna die. It's kind of nice to be able to have it sort of in a compartment, not in direct sunlight, but maybe you're Bluetoothing music off of it through those outside speakers and you want to be able to reach over and change the tune or turn it up or down or something like that. I don't know. I just know that when I'm sitting there and Got No Shame by Brother Kane comes on, not only do I listen to it at the campground, but everybody listens to it at the campground because I'm going to find out how loud this thing can go. It's just a personal opinion. I think that is perhaps one of the most perfect songs ever composed in rock and roll history. Moving on from there, we have Goodyear Endurance Radials factory standard here for Indiana-built units. The Hood River Edition, which is the Western-built version of this, made out of Oregon, actually has a Westlake kind of off-road sort of tire to give it a little bit higher ground clearance, as well as a couple other little tweaks like holding tank heaters and a Max Air vent cover over the bathroom vent. Now, if let's say you're visiting our Indiana store from Bish's RV, where it doesn't have the standard Max Air vent cover, we could add that. That's not a big deal. That's a very simple thing. On-demand water heater on the back here. Something that you can't easily see is basically directly below that spare tire is a receiver hitch rated for about 300 pounds. So if you want to slide the tire to one side or the other, make sure not to block your tail light or your license plate, by the way, unless you want a visit from Johnny Law on your next trip. You could put something back there, maybe even to hold like a cargo tray for a generator. It's more than just bikes that can go in those rear receiver hitches. Heck, if you really want to get cute, you could go ahead and get the bumper dumper to go with that. And if you don't know what that is, be careful. You might want to search it in incognito mode so you don't end up with a bunch of that in your like when you research something and then it starts showing up in your search history. You might have that happen there. You saw in our quick little flyby, I can't remember if I showed you or not, you got the 200-watt solar package up there. Notice that the stovetop actually does have that heat exhaust vent pouring heat outside of the RV as well. What do you think of the gold accents on those wheels. I don't see that a lot. It's either like always black or silver or something. I kind of like it. It just overall aesthetically, I like the look of these. I mean, you know, peeking around the corner there, they got a pretty sweet look about them, in my personal nerdy opinion. I do want to give them one more pat on the back, and that is by having 4-corner stabilizer jacks. If you've never shopped for RVs, you just don't even know what you don't even know. And when you get into single axle stuff, there's a lot of builders that'll try to save £1 and $1 by not putting front jacks on these things. And that will cause that trailer to wiggle jiggle so much more at your campsite. You don't even realize how much you're going to be thankful that you have the front stabilizers on this. So leave me a note. Let me know. Where did they nail it? Where did they fail it? Positive, negative. I've tried to be fair and show you both sides of the equation myself. I'd appreciate if you did the same. And you're probably, I don't know, you might be curious, you might be serious, like, what does one of these things run? The price tag. Double check the link in the video description where we will show you anywhere that we have one of these in stock with pricing. We don't do hidden dealer fees. We can deliver these RVs pretty much anywhere that you need. So basically, when you're ready, we're ready. And in the meantime, you have a few other questions, hit us up, let us know. We're happy to take care of you. And until then, thanks again for tuning in. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.